Welcome to my tutorial on Latex Applique. This tutorial will show you how to make designs from latex that you can apply to t-shirts and other garments, such as the ones shown here. This is part 1 of 2. This is a mock-up of the final shirt in Corel Draw, and I have two versions of the design. One is right side up and one is in mirror image. I'm going to need one copy of it printed on sticky labels. I'll do that now. Print just this page and print it. And I also need one copy of the mirror image. Just this page printed on regular paper. So here is one copy of my design on sticky labels. It's a special kind of sticky label called stick and lift. So you can stick it onto something and you can peel it off again. I use these a lot. For every design I go through 3 to 4 of these sheets of sticky labels. And I've got another copy in mirror image, which is just printed on regular paper, which we will need later on. So here I have my design on a piece of sticky label, and I have a piece of latex in about the same size as the design. The latex has two sides. It has a shiny front side and a sort of less shiny, bit textured back side. And I apply the label to the front side. There's no need to clean the latex first because we're not going to glue this side anyway. So I peel off the label like this. And apply it very carefully to the latex, making sure there's no air bubbles being formed under the label, and also making sure that the latex is not being stretched as I apply this label. This is it. Next I'm going to clean the back side of this piece of latex. It's easiest to clean it at this stage when the label is fully applied, so I just take a bit of benzene to clean the latex and a piece of cloth, and just make sure that I get all the talc and dirt and muck out of it. This will make it much easier to glue later on and will make the glue bonds much more permanent. So instead of the sort of greyish sheen that I had before, now it's a deep and dark black. Now that the back of the latex is clean, I can start cutting out the design. So I take my scalpel and just very carefully start cutting out the design. The trickiest bits are usually the corners, where I have to overshoot the corners a little to make sure I get a good clean cut. Otherwise, if I don't overshoot the corners, I get some stickiness there. And I might also have places where I don't manage to cut through the latex completely. So in those cases, it's usually either time to change your blade or just try another cut. At this point, I've cut out all of the design, and I'm going to detach it from the rest of the latex at this point. Some of the pieces are completely separate, like the eye or this lightning bolt, and for the rest I just detach them very carefully from the base. Remove it. Might be some parts where you didn't manage to cut through all of the latex, so at this point you need to carefully cut those parts out. And there we go. I've got the outline of the wolf here. I've got the eye, which goes somewhere around here. and I've got the lightning bolt which goes somewhere here. So I now have my design cut out from black latex, and I want to transfer it onto a piece of white latex. But in its current form, like this, it would be rather hard to glue it to something else without warping, because it is rather fragile. So I need to do some intermediate step first. And this is where the mirror image version of the design comes in, that we printed out earlier on regular paper. So I'm going to take this mirror image version of the design, and I'm going to glue the latex version to it with the label side down. So I'm using some glue here, which is incidentally the same kind of glue that I use for gluing latex, just undiluted. I apply some glue to the paper and take the lightning bolt here and glue it to the paper. I'll do the same thing for the eye. Here. This is where the eye goes. And so on for all the rest of the design. So here we have our design glued to a piece of paper, with the front side glued to the paper. And I also have a sheet of white latex that I'm going to glue this to. So this is just a piece of white latex of approximately the same size as the design. But before I can glue anything to the white latex, I need to prepare it. I need another sheet of sticky labels, like you've seen before, and I'm going to glue it with the back side to that sheet of sticky labels. I glue it to the sticky label so that when I clean it afterwards, and when I apply the glue to glue the design to it, it doesn't warp. Otherwise the glue and the solvents react with the latex and it warps and wobbles, and you can't really get a clean application. I'm going to cut out a piece of sticky label that is approximately as big as the latex. That's this. I peel off the backing of the sticky label. So I've got my piece of sticky label, and I've got my piece of latex, which I put on the table with the back side up. The back side is the one that's a little bit matte compared to the front, which is more shiny. This side is the front, it's pretty shiny, and this side is the back, it's a little matte. And I apply the sticky label to this piece of latex. You don't have to be very precise with this. Okay, I start at one side and I just smooth it down so I don't trap any air bubbles under the sticky label. There we go. So now I cut off all the excess sticky label here and here, all with my trusty rotary knife. That's that. And a little bit here.